Lucas opened the door at her first knock, already dressed for their return flight. His smile faded when he saw her expression. "What's wrong?" Maya took a deep breath. "We need to talk about the battery project." She connected her laptop to the suite's television, displaying the evidence she'd discovered overnight. "Someone's been manipulating the test results. The inconsistencies aren't random, they're deliberate." Lucas's expression hardened as he studied the data. "You're certain?" "The pattern is unmistakable, and the access codes belong to someone on the executive team." His eyes snapped to hers, suddenly cold. "You think I'm involved?" It wasn't a question. Maya hesitated, hating the doubt that had crept between them. "I think someone wants this technology to fail," she said carefully. "And I needed to tell you before the investors transfer funds." Lucas's laugh was harsh. "Convenient timing. We secure investment, then discover problems that will delay delivery." "That's not what I'm saying." "Isn't it?" He paced the room like a caged animal. "Do you know how many corporate spies have tried to infiltrate Horizon? How many competitors would pay millions for advance knowledge of our failures?" Maya flinched as if he'd struck her. "You think I'm a spy?" "I think I let my guard down," Lucas replied, his voice dangerously quiet. "A mistake I rarely make twice." The accusation stung worse than she'd expected. "Check the data yourself," she said, unplugging her laptop. "I'm catching a commercial flight back." "Maya, you once said fear prevents people from bringing you problems. I just proved that trust does too." She headed for the door. "Goodbye, Mr. Reed." 3 days passed with no contact from Lucas. Maya threw herself into job applications, trying to ignore the hollow ache in her chest. On the 4th morning, her doorbell rang at 7 a.m. Lucas stood on her doorstep looking like he hadn't slept in days. "You were right," he said without preamble. Maya crossed her arms. "About?" "Everything." He ran a hand through his disheveled hair. "We found the source. Peterson was selling information to our biggest competitor." "Peterson? But he's been with you from the beginning." "Which gave him perfect cover." Lucas's expression was grim. "The FBI arrested him this morning." Maya leaned against the doorframe. "Why are you here, Lucas?" "To apologize. And to ask you to come back." His eyes held hers. "Not as my assistant, as head of data security. You accused me of corporate espionage." "I've spent my life expecting betrayal," he admitted. "It's become a self-fulfilling prophecy." "That's not an excuse." "No, it's a flaw I'm trying to correct." He stepped closer. "I've never trusted anyone the way I trusted you in Seattle. When I saw that data, I panicked." Maya studied his face, seeing genuine regret in his eyes. "Trust isn't my strong suit either," she confessed. "We're quite the pair." "We could be." Lucas reached for her hand. "If you're willing to try again." "The job offer is tempting," Maya said, her fingers tentatively curling around his. "I'm not just offering a job," his voice softened, "though I'll understand if that's all you want." Maya considered the man before her, brilliant, flawed, and finally honest. "I think," she said slowly, "we should discuss the details over breakfast." Lucas's smile was answer enough as she stepped aside to let him in. 6 months later, Horizon Technologies unveiled its revolutionary battery technology to worldwide acclaim. At the launch party, Lucas raised a toast to their success. "To finding patterns," he said, his eyes finding Maya across the crowded room. "And to the woman who taught me that true connection requires vulnerability." Maya smiled back at the man who had once been the most feared CEO in tech, now her partner in work and life. Some risks, she had discovered, were worth calculating after all. "The Seattle meeting can't be rescheduled," Maya explained, watching Lucas pace his office like a caged predator. "The investors are only in the country for 48 hours. Lucas glared at his calendar as if it had personally betrayed him. "Peterson needs to present the revised battery specs to the engineering team tomorrow." "I can brief Peterson," Maya offered. "You focus on Seattle." His dark eyes assessed her with that penetrating gaze that still made her pulse quicken after 6 weeks working together. "You understand the technical aspects well enough?" "I've been reviewing all the reports. I can handle it." Lucas nodded slowly. "You'll need to come to Seattle afterward. Bring the team's feedback directly." Which was how Maya found herself boarding a private jet the following evening, clutching a folder of engineering notes and trying not to look impressed by the luxury surroundings. "Productive meeting?" Lucas asked as she settled into a buttery leather seat across from him. Illuminating, Maya handed him the folder. They identified the inconsistency. The composite material degrades when exposed to certain temperature fluctuations. Lucas flipped through the notes, his expression brightening. This is fixable. That's what Dr. Ramesh said. She suggested an alternative compound. The flight attendant interrupted with drinks. Maya accepted a sparkling water while Lucas opted for whiskey. 6 weeks, he said after a thoughtful sip. You've outlasted all your predecessors. Planning my termination already? Maya smiled to hide how much the question unsettled her. Planning your promotion, actually. Lucas leaned forward. Your background in data analysis could be valuable to the battery project. Maya blinked in surprise. You're offering me a different position? I'm considering it. You see patterns others miss. The rest of the flight passed, discussing possibilities, their conversation flowing more easily than ever before. By the time they landed in Seattle, rain was pouring in sheets of silver. The hotel sent a car, Lucas said as they exited the terminal, but the promised vehicle was nowhere in sight. After 15 minutes of waiting, Maya's phone chimed with a message. There's been an accident on the highway. Our driver is delayed at least an hour. Lucas glanced at his watch. We can get a taxi, in this weather. We'll be sitting in traffic just as long. 10 minutes later, they dashed through the downpour to a small pub Maya had spotted across from the airport. Water dripped from their clothes as they claimed a corner booth. Not exactly the Four Seasons, Lucas commented, looking around the dimly lit space with its worn wooden tables and eclectic decor. It's authentic, Maya countered. And they have excellent whiskey. Lucas raised an eyebrow. You're full of surprises. As they waited out the storm, something shifted between them. Away from the office, Lucas gradually relaxed. He spoke of his childhood fascination with energy systems, of nights spent dismantling electronics while other children slept. My father wanted me to pursue finance, he admitted. We didn't speak for 3 years after I started Horizon. And now? He died before we reconciled. Lucas stared into his glass. The company's success meant nothing to him. Maya reached across the table, briefly touching his hand. That's his loss. Their eyes met, and Maya felt that dangerous current again, stronger now. Lucas's fingers curved around hers for a heartbeat before he withdrew. What about you? He asked. What drove you to data analysis? I like finding hidden patterns. Maya traced a water droplet on her glass. Numbers don't lie or manipulate. They just wait for someone to understand what they're saying. Like people? Maya smiled. Much easier than people. The rain eventually subsided and their driver finally arrived. As they approached the hotel, Maya was acutely aware that something fundamental had changed. The professional boundaries that had defined their relationship were blurring, revealing something more complex and potentially devastating underneath. In the elevator, standing closer than necessary, neither spoke. The tension between them had transformed into something electric and inevitable. Good night, Maya, Lucas said when they reached her door, his voice lower than usual. Good night, she replied, wondering if he could hear the unsteady beating of her heart. The Seattle investment meeting exceeded expectations. Maya watched from the back of the conference room as Lucas presented their battery technology with compelling precision. The investors were visibly impressed, asking thoughtful questions that Lucas fielded with confident expertise. Preliminary agreements are signed, Lucas announced as they returned to the hotel. His smile, rare and transformative, made Maya's heart flutter traitorously. We should celebrate. Dinner was arranged in a private dining room overlooking Puget Sound. As the sunset painted the water copper and gold, Maya struggled to remember why maintaining professional distance was so important. To successful partnerships, Lucas raised his glass. And to solving the temperature fluctuation issue, Maya added. His eyes held hers. That wouldn't have happened without you. The compliment warmed her more than the wine. Conversation flowed easily between them now, punctuated by moments of charged silence that made Maya increasingly aware of her attraction to this complicated man. After dinner, they walked along the waterfront, the city lights reflecting on the dark water. I've been thinking about your promotion, Lucas said, stopping to face her. The battery division needs someone with your analytical skills. Are you trying to get rid of me as your assistant? Maya teased. I'm trying to keep you at Horizon. His voice dropped. I've grown accustomed to working with you. Coming from Lucas Reed, it was practically a declaration. Maya felt the careful walls she'd built beginning to crumble. I should consider my options carefully, she replied, trying to maintain some professional composure. Yes, Lucas agreed, stepping closer. You should. The kiss, when it finally came, felt like an inevitable collision, gentle at first, then deepening with shared hunger. His hands framed her face with surprising tenderness while hers gripped the lapels of his jacket. When they parted, breathless, reality came rushing back. This is complicated, Maya whispered. I excel at solving complex problems, Lucas replied, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. Back in her hotel room, Maya couldn't sleep. Professional boundaries existed for good reasons. Office relationships rarely ended well, especially with a power dynamic like theirs. Yet she couldn't deny the connection between them felt genuine. Her phone chimed at 1 a.m., a notification from her automated data scanning program. She'd set it up weeks ago to monitor company communications for patterns related to the battery project. What she found sent ice through her veins. Someone had been systematically altering test results. The battery's inconsistency wasn't a design flaw, it was sabotage. Maya stared at the evidence, her mind racing. The data trail led to someone with high-level access, someone on the executive team. Her finger hovered over Lucas's contact information. Then she stopped, a terrible thought forming. What if Lucas already knew? What if this was why he'd been so eager to secure investment before the technology was proven? Trust had never come easily to Maya. Now, staring at the damning data, she faced an impossible choice. Trust the man who had captured her heart, or trust the evidence before her eyes. Morning found her pale but resolved. She slipped the data onto an encrypted drive and headed for Lucas's suite, uncertain whether she was saving Horizon Technologies or destroying her chance at happiness. The 47th floor of Horizon Technologies gleamed with a sterile perfection that made Maya Westfield feel like an intruder. Her Navy interview suit, purchased secondhand but meticulously tailored, suddenly seemed inadequate among the glass and chrome surroundings. Ms. Westfield, the HR director, Vivian Chen, smiled thinly. Your qualifications are impressive, but I should warn you about Mr. Reed's expectations. Maya nodded, her fingers lightly tapping against her portfolio. I've heard the rumors. Not rumors, facts. Vivian's perfectly manicured nails clicked against her tablet. Lucas Reed has dismissed 5 executive assistants in the past 4 months. The longest lasted 6 weeks. May I ask why? He claims they lacked initiative, or were too initiative, or breathed too loudly. Vivian's professional veneer cracked slightly. The truth is, he's impossible to satisfy. Maya absorbed this information with a calm smile. After being laid off from her data analysis position and facing 3 months of rejection letters, she needed this job. Her student loans wouldn't pay themselves, and her roommate's patience with delayed rent was wearing thin. I believe impossible is just a matter of perspective, Maya replied. Vivian's eyebrows rose slightly. Well, he's requested to meet you personally. That's unusual. The walk to Lucas Reed's office felt like a procession. Employees watched with undisguised curiosity as Maya followed Vivian through the labyrinth of workstations. Their expressions conveyed a mixture of pity and morbid fascination. Lucas Reed's office occupied the corner of the building, with floor-to-ceiling windows offering a panoramic view of the city. The man himself stood with his back to the door, silhouetted against the afternoon sun. At 35, he had built Horizon Technologies from a startup to a billion-dollar company through what business magazines called ruthless innovation. Mr. Reed, this is Maya Westfield, Vivian announced before discreetly retreating. When he turned, Maya understood why his former assistants might have been intimidated. Lucas Reed possessed the kind of intense focus that made you feel simultaneously seen and dissected. His dark eyes assessed her with clinical precision. Your resume says you're a data analyst, not an assistant, he stated without preamble. I'm both. The data analysis market is currently oversaturated due to tech layoffs. His expression remained impassive. So I'm your fallback option? You're my calculated risk, Maya countered. I need employment. You need competence. I believe we can help each other. Something flickered in his expression. Surprise, perhaps, at her directness. You've researched me, he said. Of course. You've built an impressive company with revolutionary approaches to renewable energy technology. You're also known for your exacting standards and intolerance for mediocrity. Lucas circled his desk, picking up her resume. And that doesn't concern you? I don't intend to be mediocre. A ghost of a smile touched his lips before vanishing. What makes you different from the others? I don't need you to like me, Mr. Reed. I need you to value my work. I'll organize your schedule, manage your correspondence, and anticipate your professional needs. In return, I expect fair compensation and professional respect. He studied her for a long moment. You start tomorrow, 7 a.m. sharp. Maya nodded, refusing to show relief. I'll be here at 6:30 to prepare. As she turned to leave, his voice stopped her. Ms. Westfield, the average survival time in this position is 3 weeks. Let's see if you can break the record. Maya smiled. I don't break records, Mr. Reed. I set new ones. The door clicked shut behind her, and only then did she allow herself a small, victorious smile. Step 1 complete. Now she just had to tame the most demanding boss in the tech industry without losing her mind, or her heart, in the process. Maya's first week at Horizon Technologies unfolded like a tactical operation. She arrived each morning at 6:15, reviewing overnight emails from international partners before organizing Lucas's day with military precision. By the time he strode through the door at 7, a steaming cup of black coffee, no sugar, trace of cinnamon, waited on his desk alongside a prioritized agenda. The Nakamura team sent revised specifications, Maya informed him on Friday morning. I've highlighted the changes and scheduled a conference call for 10 a.m. Lucas glanced up from his tablet. You speak Japanese? Enough to identify discrepancies in the translation. Their energy storage requirements increased by 15%, which affects our delivery timeline. A flicker of surprise crossed his face before disappearing behind his usual mask of cool detachment. Move the Henderson meeting to accommodate. Already done. And I took the liberty of preparing alternative production schedules. She placed a folder on his desk. Option 3 is most efficient, though slightly more expensive. Lucas studied her with an intensity that made the air between them feel charged. You're overstepping your role, Ms. Westfield. I'm anticipating problems before they become crises, she countered. Isn't that what you pay me for? The corner of his mouth twitched. We'll use option 2. Less expensive, acceptable delay. Maya nodded, making a note. I'll inform production. As she turned to leave, his voice stopped her. How did you know about the translation issues? I worked with Japanese firms in my previous position. I recognized patterns in their communication style. For the first time, Lucas looked genuinely intrigued. You're wasted as an assistant. Currently, I'm exactly where I need to be. The following Wednesday, Maya noticed something concerning in the quarterly reports. The company's revolutionary battery technology, Lucas's passion project, was showing inconsistent test results. The project manager had buried this information on page 43, clearly hoping to avoid Lucas's notorious temper. When everyone had left that evening, Maya knocked on Lucas's door, reports in hand. You should see this, she said simply, placing the highlighted section before him. As Lucas read, his expression darkened. Peterson tried to hide this from me. He's afraid of you, Maya stated bluntly. Everyone is. His eyes snapped to hers. Fear ensures standards are maintained. This battery technology is everything, he said quietly. If it fails, we lose our competitive edge. Then we need to understand why the tests are inconsistent. Lucas ran a hand through his dark hair, momentarily letting his perfect composure slip. I've poured 5 years into this project. Maya saw something she hadn't expected. Vulnerability beneath the armor. Then let's fix it. But first, you need food. You've been here since 6 a.m. I don't have time. Your brain doesn't function optimally without nutrition. That's not an opinion. It's biochemistry. To her surprise, Lucas laughed, a genuine sound that transformed his features. You're the first assistant who's ever ordered me to eat. I'm probably the first assistant who values results over appeasing your ego. Instead of firing her on the spot, Lucas reached for his phone. Fine. What are we eating? Thai from that place on 8th. I already ordered. It should arrive in 10 minutes. As they worked through dinner, Maya glimpsed a different Lucas Reed, brilliant, focused, occasionally even funny. When their hands accidentally touched while reaching for the same document, she felt an unexpected jolt of awareness that had nothing to do with professional boundaries. Dangerous territory, she reminded herself. But as Lucas looked up and their eyes met across the desk, she wondered if he felt it too, this current running beneath their carefully constructed professional relationship. Fear ensures problems are concealed until they become disasters. For a moment, she thought she'd pushed too far. His jaw tightened, eyes flashing with anger. Then, unexpectedly, he sighed. Sit down, Maya. It was the first time he'd used her first name. She perched on the edge of the chair opposite his desk,